So one of the things that you mentioned lately, which I thought was really interesting and like a super hot topic that I keep seeing like all over the Apple ticker, is like employees literally being asked to pitch how AI can replace their jobs.
Right.
And like, what does that do to adoption?
Oh my gosh, it totally halts adoption. No one is going to answer that question truthfully if that's the way you ask it. I mean, if you approach this the right way, anyone would tell you that there are so many things that they do on a day-to-day basis that could be automated. Like if you have that mindset and you can kind of see like what's possible, it's easy to tell that so much of the work we can do can be automated. But if your tactic for finding out what those things are is to sort of breed fear in people, then they are going to shut down. And they are the only ones who know what can be automated. Like the person closest to the work is the one who can be and should be automating it. And so they're like almost the gatekeepers. And if you shut them down, you're like locking yourself out of that potential. You need people to open up. You need people to be willing to talk about how their work life could be better with AI and automation. And I think the better question is, where are you spending time outside of your skill set? So if you were hired to do marketing strategy, or if you were hired because you're a copywriter or an ads gal or a data analyst, where's the time in your day where you are not doing those things? You're responding to emails, you're submitting data requests, you're compiling data across multiple sources, you're following up on things. No one wants to be doing those things. And if you told someone, hey, with AI and with automation, you could spend more time actually doing what you were hired to do, and we want to move you into that work, people will actually start to open up. And if you put the automation tools in their hands, as opposed to hiring some external person to come and automate for them, you're giving them the power. You're building their skill set. You're giving them this like career progression. And that really motivates people. People get excited about that when they find those gains, when they find an automation that can save them 8 hours a week.
Wow.
They get excited because they're like, hey, I want to take this to my manager and let her know what we did. And she's going to tell her manager and their manager. And then I'm going to there's opportunity in that. And that's the kind of like excitement and recognition and celebration that you want to breed among your teams. And I actually think middle managers are sort of the key to all of this. Give them the right talking points. Give them the right tools. What happens when someone says, hey, we have a ChatGPT enterprise license, but I've heard Claude can do some really cool things. Like, what's the deal? Is it like, no, this is all we get? Is it that you're willing to, spend a few dollars here and there to let people experiment with different things? I mean, I think experimentation is super healthy. And, if you're locked down into this one very specific and antiquated set of tools, you're not going to be able to see the same gains as a company that celebrates experimentation.
I love the experimentation piece because I feel like, that's a lot of what we do also when we're pressure testing systems. So you have to go through a certain amount of pressure testing the AI and seeing how it can be developed, and like investing in your team to also be researching and like the R&D and all that, and just seeing like and not having the expectation that this is going to work the first time. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think there are a lot of people who are given something like Copilot, and they're told, look at what is possible with AI. We can do so much. And then they're given a Copilot chatbot, and they try to do this, like, they try to get wowed and they're like not wowed, and then they never use it again. So I feel like we really need to let people experiment and see what works well for them and what works well in their work. Yeah. Because there are different tools that are going to enhance like in different functional areas. Yeah. Okay. So that brings me to my next question, which is like, I've heard you say I've overheard you in a meeting being like, these employees have never opened up a terminal. Like, first of all, for those of us like who are listening who maybe don't know what that term means, define that for us. What is a terminal?
Don't make me.
Oh my gosh, just give us the highlight. And like, how much is the gap between just like I know you're like, oh, if you have the mindset of automating and this and that, but like, what is that? Talk about the gap.
So where this comes from is there are so many advances happening right now in AI that are accessible for technical people. So people who know how to code, people who know how to talk to a computer, right? And
it's not as intuitive as you think, folks.
Yes. Guess what? That's 2% of the workforce.
That makes me feel a lot better, actually.
98% of the workforce has never opened a terminal. They don't know what an IDE is. There are so many advances happening for the technical part of the workforce. And so let's say 2% of the workforce is getting 50% faster. What if the other 98% of the workforce got just 15% faster? Can you imagine how much more we would gain from focusing on those non-technical folks? And that is, I think, a huge oversight right now. Like, we all are kind of in this AI bubble on LinkedIn and people talking about OpenClaw and what they're building and vibe coding. And then you have 98% of the world that is still like, I'm just asking ChatGPT where the nearest ice cream store is, right? And it's giving me a bad answer. And so I don't use it. You know what I mean? Like, actually, most of the workforce is not really using AI very much.
Wow.
And so I really think there's a huge opportunity in just that baseline adoption, baseline AI fluency, and focusing on our non-technical workforce. And in fact, the non-technical workforce, they have the business expertise, the domain expertise. So like an HR specialist, an HR director, they understand the nuances of how to run an HR team or what the different HR related duties are. I don't know much about HR. They understand that nuance, and they're actually like the best person to figure out what to use AI for. And so if you were to say, hey, IT team, can you build this for us? Can you build some HR automation AI tool for us? They're probably not going to build something that's as quality or that's going to work as well if you put the tool building power in the hands of the domain expert.
Wow.
And so this is what I'm super passionate about, like with the whole idea of a citizen developer. And I'll tell you, the citizen developer. So CitizenWorks, my company CitizenWorks, is named after this idea of a citizen developer. And a citizen developer is a non-technical employee or non-technical worker who is getting scrappy, building stuff, probably, messing up along the way, but they're like building stuff in Excel, they're building stuff in whatever tools they have access to, and they're not engineers. They don't know how to code, and they're building these workarounds, right? And they're finding a lot of productivity opportunities for their teams, and you don't need to know how to code. And I feel really passionate about like if we can train more non-technical workers in how to use automation tools, the gains are massive compared to if we let all of our coding professionals be the ones to get the most benefit out of AI.
Yeah. But what do you feel is the impact of like that happening? I know you've already talked about it, but like what's like the ripple effect on the company?
So training a citizen developer, training a non-technical team member in automation and AI tools is like this exponential impact.
Wow.
Because once you train one person, and on average, like you can find 10 hours a week of work that they could automate. And then what happens is you build this excitement in one person and they train the next person, and then they train the next person. And now you've invested in one person, you've made this exponential impact on the company where now you have this little army of people who are able to maximize the impact of their team. just a quick story. So just a few months ago, I worked with a company that wanted to basically build an automated system for one of their main for their recruitment. So their business was living in Excel, and we moved them into a more automated system. And while we were working on that, I trained their director to build these automations herself. And that was a few months ago, right? And so we had, a lot of impact on just implementing that system. Now, 3 months later, I check in with her and I'm like, hey, how are things going? And she's like, great. And I also figured out that there are all of these other areas that could be automated. And so that's what I'm working on now.
Wow.
And so they thought they're like investing in building this one system, but including training in that made such an exponential impact. And now their company has an automation expert living inside of it. And that's actually the problem that I always present when you hire someone external to come in and build things, which my company does. We'll come in and build an automated system for you. But I always emphasize that we need to train the people who will use this system to make changes, to maintain it, because you're automating human processes. And we know human processes change frequently. If you go in and build a system that's not agile, that people don't know how to maintain, 6 months later, it's not going to work for you anymore. And so that training is so important, because then you're building the internal capability to continue improving and building that out and maximizing the impact.
I love that.
I could talk forever about this.
It's super cool. No, I love that. I mean, I think that just really helps the story, really helps paint a picture of like the broader impact on the organization and what it means to bring somebody in. But then that training is just such a key component. Yeah. It's actually, what is it? Like, what's it called? Like an opportunity cost. But then also it is you're not getting the maximum investment if you're not adding the training. Right. There's like a phrase that I'm trying to think of.
You're not maximizing your investment if you don't include training.
Yeah, it's almost like you're investing 100%, but you're only getting a 50% return.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a thing that I hear from people a lot when I say that I work in automation, and they say, automation doesn't make sense for my business because people really value my human connection.
I hear that a lot too.
Yeah, very common, and I totally get it. But automation, the point is to allow you to be more human.
Exactly.
So, if you spend 25% of your time with your clients and 75% managing your books, chasing down invoices, sending emails, gathering data, imagine if we could automate all of that, and then that 25% client time is now your 75% client time. So that's like a lot of small business owners have that concern.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's backwards.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I really feel like we have to make that such a core part of the message of like, this is to help you increase your human content, like client work, being able to like, I feel like my automations and what I've done in my business has helped me be able to like go out and network more. Right. Like I can now do all those things and be more with my community because I have things working in the back end where,
Yeah. I mean, a design gal that we both have worked with before, I mean, design and the creative sort of industry have a lot of pushback on AI and automation. And I think it's because people think that it's going to replace them doing what they love. It's going to replace that design aspect of things. And this design gal that we've both worked with, Sadie, she has Zaps set up like nobody's business. She's got her HubSpot dialed. She's got Zapier. She's got Honeybook. And I'm like, dang, girl, like you've got the automation down. And especially for someone in a creative industry, that's like it's rare.
Super rare.
But she can spend her time designing and not maintaining your systems.
Exactly. So that brings, what I want to know about from your perspective of Citizen Works is if the goal is to be human-centered and to not replace, people with AI, what is your philosophy and what's your perspective, and like how should companies frame this and kind of pitch this to their workforce?
Yeah. And there's a lot of like concern about, okay, so let's say we're talking about automating 10 hours a week of the work that you do, and you're paid for 40 hours a week. So what happens to that 10 hours? Are we consolidating? Are we laying people off? And oftentimes when that person's job has been, when you've gotten rid of that 10 hours a week of automatable work, if that person has done that automation themselves and now they have the skills to automate work, what you often see is that they get excited about it, and that's their new job is to go around and help people automate their work, automate the things they don't like doing. And so there's kind of like three things that happen. One is that someone was working 50 hours a week and now they're working 40.
Yeah.
Maybe now they're able to spend their time, like a data analyst. Now, instead of spending their time copying and pasting data between Excel spreadsheets, they're actually analyzing the data. They're able to be proactive. They're able to notice issues before it becomes a problem. So when you allow that space to be creative and to think, and you have more free time in your day, which is what's going to happen when everyone starts adopting AI, like we're going to just have more free time. You're able to actually, be more creative and get to that next level of really like maximizing what your skill set is.
It's so interesting. Have you ever thought about like what that next level would look like for you? Like, I'm just thinking about that in my business of like, okay, like what would that look like with more time?
But that's never,
I know.
Really? Okay. I was talking about this with someone today, which is that like when you feel that energy of like, oh my God, like I can build all these things with AI and you can't stop. You can't stop tinkering. You're like, one last prompt. I'm going to let this prompt run while I'm in the shower. Let me submit this last one before I go to bed so that it finishes generating while I'm asleep. And you think like eventually everything would be automated, right? Like you're done, but there's no finish line. Like, especially I feel like once you get this bug of building, like you just keep wanting to build more and more and more. Like, what else can I do? Now, not only I don't want to decrease my workload, I actually want to grow my business. I want to scale my business. And so there's always, I fear this a little bit. I fear that we are all headed for AI burnout.
Oh,
because
I do too. I'm like, I feel like we're going to, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm like, I'm excited about this because I feel like we're going to see a swing back towards analog, like way more analog.
Well, the flip
things.
phones.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
It's so funny because I work in AI and automation and I freaking hate being on my phone.
Me too.
I hate anything that requires me to click around on an app.
Yep.
Like I order my groceries online and it is the bane of my existence because I have to stand there for 10 minutes choosing what I want from the grocery store. But I think it's maybe like my patience. Like I'm used to this dopamine hit where like every 15 seconds I get a response from the AI. Like, let's go. Like this is wasting.
How do you not know what groceries I want? Like, it should just be in my cart.
Right. I think AI is killing us.
Oh my God. They talk more about that. What do you mean?
No, I just think like our expectations of ourselves and our productivity are continuing to go up.
Yeah,
I don't think
agree.
it's from external expectations. I really think it's internal. Yeah. It's like, I was telling someone today, it's kind of like you've been making $25 an hour your whole life. And now you're making $1,000 an hour. And it's like an addiction. It's like, well, why would I stop at 40 hours a week when I could make $8,000 extra by working 48 hours a week? And it's this, like, we're not used to this productivity yet. Yeah. So it's this huge dopamine hit every time. And I think it's going to burn us out. Yeah.
What do you feel like? Is there anything that you feel that we can do to kind of, I don't know, like help prepare or to like be not get?
Oh my God, I have no idea. I'm like touch the green grass every day.
Go outside.
But I don't even do that. Yeah. I literally sit down at my. I sit down at my desk at 8 a.m. and I do not get up for 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then I get to the end of the day and I'm like, what did I do today? I don't know.
I know. Okay, interesting. That's super interesting. I definitely feel like I am going to, like, as I grow the business, and like one of the things that I want to build in is the more analog things. Like I kind of like want a flip phone. I want like, you know, I don't know. say that. I don't know if I actually do, right, in reality, but like I love the idea of
Have you
it.
seen the physical phones? Like, you know, do you follow Cat GPT on TikTok?
No, I don't have
Okay,
TikTok.
so she
It's too much stimulation.
she just came out with these physical phones that they connect to Bluetooth to your phone, but you can literally pick it up, and it's like this old style.
Oh, like a rotary phone?
Yeah,
Okay.
rotary phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, they're all physical phones.
No,
so-
yeah, no, but the company is called Physical Phones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, like a rotary that you can actually pick up, like a landline.
A landline.
But it's
that's
Bluetooth.
what it is. Yeah.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. She's saying, so you can leave your phone in the other room. Someone calls you, it will still ring.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. No, I really like that idea.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really interesting.
I feel like we can go rogue.
Oh, dangerous zone. Going rogue off the script.
Oh man. Okay, what do you someone asked this at a business networking event the other day. Like, what do you wish you knew when you started your business?
Oh my gosh. Do you know the answer to this? I feel like I have to think about that.
I kind of feel like I know.
I think for me the first thing that comes to mind is like I wish that I would have known a couple of things. One, very tactically what to spend money on. I feel like I spent so much money on the wrong things.
I think I know what you
You know?
Ditto.
Yeah, like you just don't know. Like you're just like, okay, that sounds good. This is this expert on Instagram telling me I need X, so I'm gonna spend and get it. Like so much money. So I wish somebody would have guided me on like, don't spend that right now. Like this is what you need to, spend on to get you to, so I wish that.
Should we do like a controversial episode on business coaches?
Oh my
no,
God.
we would make so many enemies. There's too many out there. They will come in a swarm.
Yeah. There are some great coaches out there for sure, but there are a lot. I think people have to be very critical. Think critically.
I do think, like their business experience is so important.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And because there are some really good coaches where it's like they lived it, they started a business, they sold their business, and now they just want to chill and they're just doing coaching.
Yeah.
Which is great, totally makes sense. But if I do feel like there are people who skip the experience part.
Yeah, for sure. You need to vet this person. Like my coach is like a top sales person. Like, he had built a $7 million, dollar company from scratch. Like, he's got some good experience, and he's like more of like specialized in like in sales and like, more like specialized in a specific skill that I'm wanting to learn. Business, I think, can get so ambiguous. The other thing, like, I wish that I had invested in is implementation. Like, the coaching was you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, this is great.
There's too much strategy. It's let's
God.
do it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, okay, so I'm meeting with you every week, and
I still have to do everything.
I still have to do everything, and I'm not getting anywhere. Like, I feel like it's such slow growth because I'm the bottleneck. Like I didn't have a team at the beginning. Like I was doing everything myself. Right. And I'm, listening to these coaches of all these things to do. And I mean, amongst other things, I know we got off of that tangent, but but yeah, that was a huge thing. And then I also realized that I invested in people where I was the guinea pig. Where I didn't realize that they didn't have like a proven track record, and I trusted people too easily,
right?
Instead of like really vetting them and asking the hard questions of like, what results have you gotten? Like, I think when you're in business, you feel uncomfortable sometimes asking those hard questions because you're like, oh, am I supposed to ask, and no, show me the receipts, like,
right?
Show me the receipts, show me, you can tell with people talking pretty quickly if they have the experience or not, but if you have to ask the right questions.
Yeah. And I really think there's a lot of good entrepreneur networking, or not networking, entrepreneur groups out there where people are all supporting each other. And I really think you could get more value from being surrounded by people, especially people who are more successful than you.
100%.
Okay. One of the things that I wish I had done so much earlier in my business was get out of the office, get out of my house, go to events, do speaking opportunities, Every time I leave my house, I just feel like I spent the first year of my business like in my office on my computer.
Literally same.
Yeah. And as soon as I started getting out and involved in these networking groups and speaking opportunities, it was like a total change in the business trajectory.
I agree. I think one of the things that I learned the most with getting out into these groups, whether it was networking or entrepreneurial groups, masterminds, was practicing talking about what I do and getting feedback in real time. Like, oh, that you have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, well, I need to work on how I explain what I do. And just doing that more frequently, it helps you get there so much faster. And I think what's so cool, especially being here in Reno, I don't, can't speak to a lot of other places, but like entrepreneurs love to help each other out. At least that's my experience. I know there's some industries that's cutthroat and all of that, but like in my experience, people are very helpful. So I feel like when you're in these groups, especially with other business owners, like they want to support you and help you. And have you found that or not so much?
No, I totally have. Yeah, I think I've gotten more value from just those friendships and relationships with other entrepreneurs than with anyone that I've like hired to help me.
I agree, because me and Tiffany all met through a similar,
an entrepreneur retreat.
Yeah. And I met a couple of my really, really good friends here in Reno through a networking community. So it's like, I agree. I think the friendships, in and of themselves is incredible, especially with the female friendships. And female, women-owned businesses.
I think there's definitely a different energy when you're surrounded by women entrepreneurs.
So I think what we talked about with investing was a really good one about like what to invest in. Invest in implementation, people.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh man, you will have so many people to tell you strategy, do this, do that. And then you just, and so speaking of implementation, like having an assistant, I will say something I've learned is like I almost said you get what you pay for. That's not fair. I don't know. No, I just feel like the times where I have invested in someone who's a little bit more expensive.
Oh yeah. We did want to talk about that.
I have gotten just so much more value. Someone, especially when you're an early entrepreneur or you have a small business, you have a small team, and I'm not an expert in everything. And I did hear this advice recently. If you are not an expert in something, you need to hire an expert in something.
Absolutely.
I can't manage a marketing assistant when I don't know anything about marketing.
Oh my gosh.
I need to hire someone who's an expert in marketing. And I've tried and failed at this, but like hire someone where you just think like we're all both going to learn it together. And I do think that that's really hard when you probably as an employee, from a perspective of an employee, when your boss can't be the leader in that situation and you don't have the experience, it's like not a recipe for success.
No, it's not at all. And I've had that experience before, and it's you have to have the person with the expertise in that role that you're that you don't have the expertise in, or you're both going to end up feeling like it's a failure.
There's a guy, Phil, that I follow on LinkedIn that talks about the figure it out person. And I really just love a figure it out person. I love a person where I can say like, hey, I also don't know how to do this. Like, can you go away for a few days and learn and come back and then you can teach us? Like I love a self-starter.
I agree. I wish that, and I don't know exactly what this is, if it's like a culture thing, if it is, something else, if it's a generational thing, whatever it is. I wish that more people would say like, would own the fact that they're like, I don't actually know, and I don't think I can meet these expectations right now. But I am willing to learn, and here's what I'm going to do, and here's the plan. And here, you know what I mean? Like, not just like, I don't want to hear like, I'm a fast learner. Give me the plan and how you plan to close the gap. And take it to that next level.
I feel like this is, I don't know. This is kind of like a weird, a unique, but I feel like as a small business owner with employees, there can be a mindset in employees where you're like, I'm working, like kind of half working.
Yes.
But when you are a small business owner and like you're paying someone and the money is coming out of your pocket, I do think there's much more tendency to be a micromanager where it's like, excuse me, I just paid you $30 for that hour. Like, what did you do? And it's tough to get through that because I'm like, that's my money.
So do you feel like that's wrong, or like tell me like what's your philosophy? What's your perspective?
There's just like such a difference between being an employee in a small business and being an employee in an enterprise company where like you can literally disappear for a week and no one will notice. At my last company, I feel like I literally disappeared. I feel like I literally disappeared for like 3 weeks and taught myself how to automate. And I came back and I like automated my whole job. And like, I just did that and nobody noticed. Like, and it's just interesting how when you're an enterprise employee, you can kind of like get away with a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like it's like good perspective as business owners to normalize, but then also just be aware of like if you're hiring like people with small business experience versus like if they're coming from corporate and just being aware of,
or just like maybe set the tone where it's like, hey, think about the fact that it's $30 every hour coming out of my pocket. But I don't know if that's like
can our
too
HR,
much pressure.
HR
I know
person
I feel like that might not be like okay.
I feel like that's like gonna bum out.
But it is, I know. But it is like I think maybe something for employees to keep in mind that you need to show impact.
Yeah, you have to be relevant. I think that's like a really important thing.
If the week goes by and your boss or the business owner can be like, I don't really know what this person did. Like, I feel like you're not doing your job. And I'm not saying that every week you have to have like these tangible deliverables, but you should at least have some visibility where you say like, this is what I'm working on. This is the progress that I've made. I feel like that's just good for your career and for your sort of like continuing opportunity in the business.
Yeah. It's like, so I think that's something that we're going to see shift maybe in the workforce as well as like how we, especially in small businesses, it's like how we set up the structure of like, you know, giving people ownership and like, we can't just take what corporate does and implement it into a small business and expect, you know, different results. So it's like, we need to, next time we should get an HR person in here. We can have that would be a good riff.
Wait, I know an HR lady.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. Lindsay?
Yeah.
Yeah. We should definitely,
her?
we should definitely have her come in and we can have a chat.
Yeah.
She can be the third.
I'm like, is this why people do podcasts? Because it's like just fun to shoot the shit?
Yes. That is exactly
Is it like a waste of time though?
For who?
I don't know. Like it feels like, I guess it injects a little fun in your month or so if you do it once a month.
Yeah. Dear listeners, please let us know if this feels like a valuable or a waste of time to listen to.
Yeah. I do feel
Reply
like
in the
podcasts
comments.
are a little bit of like ooh, people want to hear me talk about blah, blah, blah. Or I actually think like, I know a couple maybe like influencers or business people that have podcasts. I'm like, hey, I follow you on Instagram and I never see your podcast stuff. Like that's a missed opportunity. If you're creating content in one place, it should be everywhere.
Yes, that you will see these clips everywhere, by the way, because that's we are
you got to
systems girls
maximize
and where you put them in all the places.
Yeah,
Cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, this has been fun. Thanks for joining.
peace out.